Every software entrepreneur is seeking for recurring revenues. So, of course, scalable revenues first. That's why he builds products, but also recurring revenues because that's what gives him stability. And that's basically the concept of software as a service. So you're building recurring revenue that comes back every month and maybe for years, and you can grow naturally with the customer. When you're selling licenses to customers, then you always have to do these discussions about major upgrades and maintenance fees and how much percent it's going to be. And you don't do that anymore when it's software as a service because it's all in there. So there's no more major upgrades that come after 2 years and which need to be paid separately. And you don't make any is it 15% or 16% maintenance fees because it's all in that one price. So it's actually an easier package to sell and you can build in all your strengths. We're still seeing the customers that want to own everything, but they're clearly getting less, and I think for various reasons. One of the first is maybe related to the current recession. So software as a service lets you save your cash. It lets you protect your cash for the moment, so you don't need to do big investments, oversee the complete future licensing need to find the perfect price because you can grow the usage and not pay in advance. So I think that's one very strong argument from the customers. The whole IT thing became just much too complex in big companies. So if you want to operate, if you want to have the skills to implement every piece of software and to run it afterwards professionally, then this is just an organizational nightmare because it's very complex. You need to reach critical mass in knowledge and so on. So that's the two main strong drivers I see from customer side. They can reduce complexity and they can protect their cash at the moment. Although also they think at least that they can save money. I don't know if that's true on the long run. Because the product is maybe less transparent since you don't have these individual pricings for maintenance and upgrades and so on. But at the short term, it definitely looks like you can save money when you use software as a service offerings. Authentication issues because identities are getting stolen and that's just a growing issue. So that's all these Trojan horses that are sent around and so the classic concept of user IDs and passwords that are used to get access to something, that's just not secure enough. So you see that whole movement towards stronger authentication. Then this availability issue, which is the second big issue. And that's as systems got more complex, it's not one server that just has to run 24 hours, but it's a whole infrastructure of routers and load balancers and firewalls, and everything needs to be redundant on multiple sites, and that's a really big issue in the security space at the moment. And then you see some point threats, let's say. So people are let's say the bad guys are spending a lot of money to get your money or whatever is worth something, because you can sell credit card numbers, you can sell personal data of banking customers and so on. So they're spending a lot of money and try to find the holes there. And that's a consistent process of fighting new attacks. In crowded places, there's not a real interesting business case for you as a vendor to, and not a lot of space for differentiation because imitation is everywhere and everyone just compares what are the others doing. So that's when we really started to think about specialization and to think about where would be an interesting niche to go in. And for an interesting niche to find, it must be something like a constant basic desire that will stay there for years. And I think security is such a thing, because cheating and trying to get something the short way is as old as mankind. you don't go for an 80% solution. If it comes to security, you want a consultant that understands that space and that can design the solution that's right for you. So that's actually one of the main reasons why we chose that space to specialize in. It's not about being the best company, it's about being unique. And you can't be unique in a really big marketplace like IT. That's not enough specialization. You have to drill down much more. So security is only 6% of the whole IT market, and you can segment it more, and then you end up with a really small market. And that's actually what we were aiming for. We were actually aiming for a too small market. It had to be that small that we could become number one. What helped actually is that Swiss are maybe the most paranoid people on earth. I don't know, but they spend most money on security compared to all other countries. So it was kind of a good place to be, to focus on security. The only option actually was to go for differentiation, for strong differentiation, because we cannot fight on price. That's absolutely impossible. There are two moments where you're in a good position to raise external financing. Just in the beginning, where there is no customer at all and everything is fantasy, that's a good moment, because you don't have to show nice figures and everything, but we're definitely out of that stage. So the next moment where you get good value for the money is when you've reached market leadership, and in between there's nothing. Having that in mind, we approached going international. We said we need to go international before we get external financing, and getting external financing will help us speed up going international, not doing the step itself, but speed up and just repeat what we've proved that we are capable to do in 1 or 2 countries, and then taking it to the level of 10 countries at once, because it costs a lot of money. There's always a possibility to build a simpler product with less functionality. Let's say in the last couple of years, software got a thing that I don't know why, always was about adding more functions and making it really rich and complex, and people are using only 10% of the functionality, but they still pay the whole price. Or the whole license. And I think software as a service offers the opportunity to also make function-based pricing within your software. Of course, that will need vendors that are willing to only sell the portion of the software that is used. It's about winning as much customers for what they want to use. It's not what you want to sell, it's what they want to use. So you have to listen carefully what they tell you they want to use, because it might be that actually your success is in the simpler product, not in the more complex product. So it might involve not hiring more engineers, but more marketing and sales people to just talk to more people and not to build more complex functions. That's a let's say, an important strategic decision. Your big success could be less than you're selling today.